sermon, we're going to be having a report from the Honduras mission, and in keeping with the fact that I'm an ER doctor and therefore have a short attention span, it's more of a homily than a sermon. So we went to Honduras. We were working with El Hogar Ministry Incorporated. That's the name of the organization. It stems from the original name of the cottage where it all started back in 1979. Five adults were looking and seeing all the abandoned young boys living on the streets and knew they needed to do something. So they rented a cottage. They named it El Hogar de Amor y Esperanza, meaning the home of love and hope. They brought initially just 5 of those boys in to live there. Not a huge start. Initially it started off with boys because boys were abandoned to the streets more than girls at a rate of about 10 to 1 at that time. The boys went to public school, which only taught through the 6th grade. And as the number of kids grew that were staying there, they expanded their facilities. They realized the boys were not getting any job training in the public schools. And so with the help of the United Thank Offering, among others, they built St. Mary's Technical Institute to do job training in addition to continuing their education, initially through the 9th grade, now through the 11th grade. The first 2 buildings were actually built by the students themselves with supervision, which is probably a good idea. El Hogar started its own school in 1990. More on that here in a little while. It now has 4 facilities: an elementary school, the technical school, St. Mary's, an agriculture school that also continues the high school education, and a residence home for high school girls, some of whom attend public school, some of whom attend the technical school. Our team consisted of Jason Glasgow, Sandy Charlton, my family, me, Jan, Lauren, and Stephen. We were with a team from North Carolina as well. What we did is on Sunday we went to a worship service that was a gathering of the district youth from around Tegucigalpa. Listened to a really wonderful sermon, I suppose. I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know really what they said, but got a great response from the crowd. We then visited the girls' residence, brought them lunch, which something's different from what they normally eat, and just interacted with them. We played games, played soccer. My daughter and wife were working with crafts with them. My daughter showed them how to make origami roses out of colored duct tape. And I was thinking, sure, I'm glad I spent all that money sending you to college. We also interacted with the boys over that weekend, playing soccer, teaching them how to play American football, throwing frisbees, playing cornhole. Turns out my wife is a nearly champion cornhole player. She made it to the championship round anyway. We did do a service project, including painting a building that hadn't been painted in some time and working on some gardening boxes that were being prepared. One of them was growing a mahogany tree. We were also preparing them to grow hot peppers that they will use for their food. We made 3 home visits. 2 of the homes, the first 2, actually did have electricity, although it was never clear to me whether it was legal electricity or whether they had hooked into the power lines that ran by them. But there were, in one room, 4 beds. Each bed had 2 to 3 people sleeping on it. The third home that we visited had 4 people in 2 rooms, but no electricity, and the mother made the statement that she didn't like the rainy season because when it rained, the water came in the house. Nevertheless, she was very happy to at least have the house that she had. We were able to observe the students at the Technical Institute learning their trades. Each of them learns either electrical wiring, they can wire an entire house, or carpentry, and I have some pictures of some of the furniture they made and some of the carpentry projects that they did. And they also make wooden crosses that we have out in the foyer. Or they learn metalwork, welding. There's actually some machining lathes that were sent down from the Mercedes plant in Tuscaloosa to the school so they can learn how to use those. to be prepared for just about anything. After supper and after the school's mandatory study hour, after their supper, we would interact more with the boys, playing foosball, playing ping pong, playing cards or checkers or chess, or teaching art lessons, since that's what my daughter is good at. And they were all loved that. And according to the director of that school, he thinks that may be the most important thing that we did, because they're in an institution, they're taken care of, but adults don't interact with them on a personal level very much. So that was one of the things he thought. So what we did was fun, what we did was important, but I wanted to talk about what the staff do there. I'm going to start with Enrique. Enrique worked in telecommunications while he was finishing his degree in electrical engineering. He was looking for his first job in electrical engineering and making and selling sausage with his father, and he was delivering sausage to El Hogar, to the Technical Institute actually, when he learned they needed a teacher in their computer applications class. And so he began work there. He spends evenings with the boys helping them to study. He loves them. He drove us on 2 of the home visits to see the house of kids that were at the technical school. And he's bilingual. And as I said, makes sausage. I don't think there's anything he can't do. Then there was Juan Jose, or as everybody calls him, Jota Jota, which is Spanish for JJ. He is their soccer coach, and they had just recently won a trophy in the regional soccer tournament for all the Episcopal schools in the region. He spends meeting evenings with the boys, again making sure that they study. He can do just about anything around the school. He's also an instructor for the girls volleyball, and they had won a trophy. And he's an instructor for girls aspiring to be FIFA certified soccer referees. He's not a FIFA certified himself, but he can teach them everything they need to go to then be certified. Claudia De Castro is the executive director of the elementary school. Her mother and father separated when she was young. They separated on Christmas Day. She blamed herself, and she said she had an emptiness that she tried to fill by being the best at whatever she could do. She finished top of her class. She went to university. She was working her way up in a banking corporation when she heard that El Hogar was wanting to start their own school. So she, in 1989, went to apply there and be their director. The school opened up in 1990. She's been working there ever since, devoting her life now to helping others. And she says that's what has filled the emptiness. Finally, Lazaro Juarez. Lazaro was 6 when his parents divorced because his father's alcoholism. Lazaro was offered the choice. He chose to stay with his father because he was the oldest child and somebody needed to protect the father when he was passed out drunk. Talk about your role reversal. He was brought into an orphanage or school, not unlike El Hogar, but this was actually before El Hogar started. He made it through school, made it through university, devoted his life also to helping impoverished children. He was El Hogar's first employee, and he is now the executive director of the Technical Institute. In addition to doing that, he's raised his own family. He has a son that is a lawyer in Madrid. He has a daughter that's a dentist in Vancouver, and he's got 2 other children that are finishing up their degrees and part of the band that we listen to on the Sunday service. These 4 people represent the very best in all of us, and we're embodying what Jesus, one of his final commands, love one another. It's what I aspire to do, and talking about them chokes me up. But I just wanted to let you all know what I brought back from the mission trip. Thank you, and amen.
Amen. And now let us rise as you are able and facing the cross.